Here we have a cautionary tale titled, "Do not let your Uber driver cancel your ride while in the car." What happened? Sorry, this is a bit long. I know this isn't a therapist office, but this has bothered me for a long time, and I wanted to get it off my chest. Tell us. It is a therapist's office. This happened June 2018 in Portland, Oregon. I understand I acted like an idiot in this situation. Since then, I have become much more observant, cautious, and honestly, much more paranoid. I went dancing with friends when I was really drunk by midnight. Unfortunately, this was back when I had little money, and I realized you could save money by eating very little before going out, and it would take fewer drinks to get intoxicated. So I was so intoxicated, I barely remember my friend ordering me an Uber home. My phone was dead, of course. I can vaguely recall them helping me into the car and telling me to get home safe. I don't remember greeting the driver or the first minute or so, but soon after getting in, he asked me how my night was and if I smoked. Honestly, I was just thinking about bed at this point, so just slurred out that I did sometimes. He then offered me a joint, and this is the first moment I get some sort of nervous and begin paying attention. I tell him something like, "I'm really tired and just want to get home." I think he said something about it being an indica-based joint and it was great for sleep. Once again, I said something not exactly like no, but not a yes, which he takes as a yes. I'll take that joint now. Once again, I'm still intoxicated enough I can barely see straight or speak clearly. So when he says, "Okay, well, I have to cancel the ride really quick because I can't give it to you while I'm on the clock," or something to that effect, it takes me a second to realize how dangerous that is. And by the time I start to say something, he has canceled the ride and pulls over. We're in an area just east of the Hawthorne Bridge, I think, and it was totally secluded. Some empty parking lots, a closed auto body shop, no one in sight. That is terrifying. Oh my gosh, Ubers make me so nervous, I swear. They always have made me nervous because you never know. They just let anybody drive them. I mean, they do a background check, but you never know who's gonna turn. You just never know. It's starting to hit me now that I'm now in the car, not with an Uber driver, but with some stranger who is also an Uber driver. I can't call anyone, and he's trying to give me weed that could have anything in it. For the next minute or so, we're pretty quiet. I just can't remember any small talk he tried to make because I was beginning to panic. And every time he handed me the joint, I would take fake hits, just breathing it into my mouth and not into my lungs. I don't know how much you can rely on that. I felt tired, clumsy, and weak. That kind of intoxicated where you're almost at the point of nausea. And I knew I couldn't do much of anything to defend myself at that point. Let me just step in here and say, that is exactly why you want to keep your wits about you if you're going to go get intoxicated. Make sure your phone is charged. You know what's going on around you. I don't like to get intoxicated to that point, especially if I'm alone. But that's not this person's fault that the Uber driver's a perv. That's not her fault for being... No. I remember vividly being fixated for a moment on the fact that I didn't even have a pair of keys to defend myself with, as my building used fobs for just about everything, and I didn't take my mail key with me. As I'm freaking out, I look up to see if this guy is sort of noticing, and I make eye contact with him in the mirror. He was staring at me, but I couldn't read his expression. Finally, he says something along the lines of, "Well, let's get out of here." I tell him I'll just call another Uber to get home, thinking at this point it might be even safer to walk. And he says, "No, I still have your address. I'll just take you home." For a moment, I was relieved. I guess I wanted to believe him so badly that I would get home safe. I believed him. I tried to calm myself down, thinking he hadn't actually done anything threatening. Maybe he was just your typical stoner guy and I'm overreacting. At this time, I lived on PSU campus in downtown Portland, in the southwest area of the city. He is driving me north on the east side of the river. There are several bridges to our left, and he keeps moving north. And as he keeps moving north, he has several opportunities to take an exit. We keep passing bridge after bridge that could get me home. Up in northeast Portland, there are some large industrial areas that can get very isolated at night. And Portland in general is surrounded by lots of forests. So I knew he could have me in a secluded area really quickly. After he passes like the fourth exit for a bridge, pretty sure it was the Broadway Bridge, I've been racking my brain for a way to make him actually take me home and say something to the effect of, "Hey, my boyfriend is waiting for me at home," which was true, though I said it in a very meek way. My driver says nothing, but he did take the next exit for a bridge and basically hung a giant U-turn that started taking me home. Even as we're on the west side of town heading south, I'm still shaking and have my hand on the door handle, thinking about just hopping out at a red light as we get closer to my apartment. My phone is completely dead, and he honestly still has several chances to hop on nearby highways and speed out of the city. We're getting pretty close to my apartment now, and I'm once again trying to convince myself if I'm being paranoid about some stoner that can't navigate the city. Although, a few minutes before, I was so scared I was crying. That's what your body does in trauma. So once we get about 2 blocks from my apartment, I lie and tell him it's easiest to stop here and he can let me out. Again, he doesn't say anything, but does slow the car. I'm flooded with relief and even feel myself smile. But when I go to open the door, it's locked. I try to lift the lock mechanism manually, but it won't budge. I look up at him instinctually to see what's up, and he's got his head turned almost fully toward me, shoulders still facing the road, smiling at me. Oh my God, that's so scary. The worst fucking smile I've ever seen. It looked so mocking, and it just did not reach his eyes at all. Ugh, gives me chills. I just started crying and asking him to open the door. I was so freaked out and still very intoxicated, and thank God he did. That's freaky, okay? I will never forget the sensation of vulnerability, not just being intoxicated in his car with no way to contact anyone, but even as soon as I got out of the car, I kept feeling like he would somehow grab the back of my shirt and pull me in, as silly as that sounds. It don't sound silly. You should always be ready for something like that. You never know when somebody's gonna grab you. Never doubt yourself. Never go to the bar and ride home in an Uber alone at night with your dead phone. Jump out of the car. Hell, I don't know. When I got home, I found out my boyfriend had actually gone out with friends last minute and wasn't even home. He wouldn't have even known till much later if I hadn't gotten back safe. The next day, I convinced myself that I was freaking out over nothing, which I realized still could be the case. But in my gut, I had truly felt in danger the night before. Technically, this guy could have been totally harmless, but I still think I should have texted my friend and had her report him. Big thing that made me think of this was recently hearing about how Ed Kemper, co-ed killer, would go for practice runs, picking up hitchhikers and seeing if he could get passengers or potential victims to trust him, or how far out of their comfort zone he could put them without saying anything. Obviously, this guy wasn't Ed Kemper, but I hate wondering if that night was a practice run of sorts for my Uber driver. That, or maybe he couldn't gather the balls to do it at the last minute or something. He was definitely up this. I mean, this is not. It seems nefarious to me, okay? Like, it seems nefarious. And always listen to your instincts. So, let me get this straight. He's sitting in the car like this. And she's like this, and he's going, hell no, okay? Hell no, I'm sure it looked scarier than me, but whew. And another Uber tip, if you get in an Uber, screenshot the driver and the license plate and send it to whoever you know before you get in the Uber. Okay. Everybody stay safe out there.